So a lot of you have seen me speak before. 10 minutes is just about enough time for me to lick my lips and clear my throat on this particular subject. I mean, where do you start? Target is hacked, 11 million accounts. How do I protect myself, right? Is it safe to use one of these credit cards online? If I'm a business, how do I process those transactions safely? As a business owner, is it safe to let my employees use their own devices on my network? How does all this stuff work? In 10 minutes, I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. One of the advantages, however, of being a businessman owning a technology company that supports hundreds of local businesses is that I get to see trends. I know what's happening here. A lot of big titles here, a lot of very smart people. I'm the rubber meets the road guy. I'm the one who actually sees the business owners and the IT managers working with limited budgets, attempting to figure out how to balance the financial impact and the complexity of leveraging security and balancing those things against their perception of the liability. The reality is decisions can get made, and for a lot of different attacks, I mean, what's happening? What does it mean to get hacked? Data is stolen, an identity is stolen, credit cards are stolen. A lot of the repercussions will happen out here when the decisions for how protection should occur are made over here. And connecting those two dots can be difficult because of the time and the distance between how do we protect ourselves and where are we going to invest our money to protect the organization or our clients versus the events that are taking place. Now, that's not always true. Sometimes the impact is instantaneous. You mentioned ransomware. We see trends. Watching ransomware come through Modesto and the local community is like standing on the beach and watching the waves roll in. We will see a wave of ransomware hacks come through. Businesses get hit. We go out to respond, hands on the keyboard, cleaning this stuff up, trying to figure out how to do it, and then it all kind of tamps down and gets under control as the FBI shuts down things like Crypto Locker. And then a little time goes by and the next wave sweeps through. And what is this ransomware stuff? You spoke about it a little bit. You know, you can have a guy named Chuck. He goes into his email and he opens a PDF. Social engineering. The hackers tricked him into opening the thing. As soon as he does, it installs malware on his computer, and that malware begins encrypting all of his important data, encrypting it so that he can't get into it. It then goes out over the network onto your company file server, and everything that he had access to, it starts encrypting that too. Now people are starting to notice. Why can't we get onto the P drive and open up the public files? Why can't we get access to the company's primary application database? How come this stuff isn't working? Oh, it's all encrypted. Well, that's a bummer. Then the screen pops up. Hey, send us money and we'll give you the key to get into it, because unless you've got a friend in the NSA, you're not going to crack the encryption. It's tough to get into. Companies like mine will then say, okay, let's take a look at the backups. You know, he wasn't kidding. You need to have your data backed up and make sure that your data retention policy is appropriate. We have been called out to customers, and when we get out there, reactive customers, we start looking at the site. Okay, what kind of backup do you have? Oh, you do have a backup subsystem. Hey, look, it goes back 3 days. And the encryption process has been working for 4 days before you realized what's happening and you call us out. Unfortunately, your data is encrypted and so are all of your backups. Bummer. These types of things happen. I like vulnerabilities and exploits. You know, I'm the guy who sits on the couch in his underwear going through cyber risk analysis reports in the evenings. That's how I spend my spare time. Okay. HP released their 2015 cyber risk analysis report, and one of the things that they point out is that hackers are leveraging security flaws in computers that we have known about for years. On their top 10 cyber risk report that shows the top vulnerabilities, the bulk of those vulnerabilities they are identifying are 2 to 10 years old. And hackers are still successfully leveraging it. Now, what does that mean? It means that people are not applying software patches to their computers. There are vulnerabilities in software programs, Adobe Acrobat Reader, Java, Adobe Flash, iTunes, all the Microsoft products. They say there's a security flaw, here's a software patch, install it, it will fix it. But if you don't install it, the security flaw is there, the hackers can exploit the system and take control of your computer, right? That's how it works. Well then, why aren't people applying these updates? Well, I have Windows updates running. That's not enough. It doesn't do it. I have antivirus software. That's not enough. Interesting fun fact. Somewhere in the middle of 2014, I think it was in May, Brian Dye, Senior Vice President for Symantec Antivirus, proclaimed antivirus software dead, citing that antivirus software is only able to catch, in his estimation, about 45% of the cyber attacks. That's a pretty pathetic statistic, but it's real. Antivirus alone isn't enough. You need it. Antivirus software is like you putting on a bulletproof vest, and you walk out of this theater outside, and you've got a bulletproof vest. But here's the reality is that if somebody in special forces, a sniper, decides to target you in his scope, I don't care if you're wearing a vest, you are going to take a bullet. That doesn't mean that the vest has no value. It just means that you need more than one defense mechanism, and you need to be thinking about how to defend yourself. All right, only 10 minutes. I'm going to leave you with homework. 3 questions. Now, I don't care if you've got a 20-man IT staff. I don't care if you've hired an organization like me to take care of things. I want you to ask these questions. The first one's really, really simple to whoever the IT folks are who is managing these things, right? How do we manage the installation of Microsoft patches on all of our assets? How do we manage the installation of Microsoft updates on all of our assets? Servers, workstations, laptops, all of them. They're probably going to come back with a pretty quick response. If not, get them out of there. That's an easy one. Second question, how do we manage the installation of third-party patches on all of our updates? That one's going to be a stumper. What's a third-party update? I'm talking about updating software and applying patches to anything not Microsoft. Nice, simple definition. Adobe Acrobat Reader, iTunes, Adobe Flash, Java. You may not even know what Java is. Doesn't matter. 6 of the 10 highest vulnerabilities that were being targeted was Java. It needs to be patched. That one's going to be a stumper because I know that when I go out and do interviews with companies just to see how they operate, and I ask, what methodology are you using for updating your third-party applications? I think that 9 of the last 10 companies that I spoke to or asked that question to, they said, well, we have a guy who walks around and applies the updates when he can. Epic fail. It doesn't work, that methodology. There needs to be something. It needs to be managed more closely than that. And then the third question would be, okay, what method do we use to audit to make sure that these patches are being installed properly? I could have picked any one of 100 topics, but I decided to pick that one. 10 minutes. Here we go. Be safe. Ask questions. Do not assume that the people you have are doing things. Get involved. Security is a tricky topic, and it changes every single day.